We need to talk about one of the most badass vehicles used by the Galactic Republic, the SPHA. Why didn't it appear in the Clone Wars? How did it really work? All that and more on today's video. Hey guys, this is Justin. Welcome to another video. Now, before we get into the content, I do have a bit of housekeeping. I've put timestamps down below if you want to skip this, but I'm working on a pretty cool project and I need your feedback. So a lot of you are really into the battle breakdown videos I do or the fleet building videos. So I've been trying to think of a way to bring that to life, and I think I've come up with it. So on my store, eckhartslaughter.com, we are going to be selling a variety of stickers and perhaps magnets so you can build your own fleets. All of the ship designs are completely original. I've partnered with an artist. Right now, we've only got 1 or 2 ships up. You can see, for example, the Imperial Star Destroyer. My goal is to keep adding ships as long as you guys are interested. We've also got the Nebula Star Destroyer design finished. I just have to make a few final adjustments because the other nice thing is that all of these ships will also properly be to scale. Just working with the artist to get a few things squared away. Then I've just paid for the next 10 designs. So here are my questions to you, and I have a few. The first is, would you be interested in this at all, or is it really just a waste of time? And that is totally a valid option. If you're not interested, totally cool, I get it. Second, right now with the first product, I have it so when you buy the ISD, you get a left and a right facing version. That's so you can make 2 separate fleets, which I think is honestly most fun. It does up the price a bit, but I think you get a better value. Otherwise, if you want an ISD for each fleet, you've got to buy 2 copies, which ends up being more expensive. Additionally, for smaller ships, like Nebulon Bs, for example, I'll probably include as many copies as I can on the sticker, although there is a limit because there needs to be enough material for the sticker to actually detach from the back. The stickers also come in 3 different sizes, and I want to get like the smaller Corvettes up so I can see what it looks like. If it doesn't look good too small, then I won't offer, that smallest size. Also, this is important. What ships would you like to see? Right now, I have it so that ships up to 2,400 meters will be scaled properly, but we can get creative with larger sizes. Finally, are you also interested in magnets? Unfortunately, there are some limits. I can only offer 1 shape per magnet order, so I can't offer both a left and a right-facing ISD, for example. Or if I were to offer Nebulon Bs, for example, you'd either have to take 1 very small one or a group of ships. But the magnets are fun, obviously, because you can move them around, and I think eventually it would be really cool to get some top-down versions of the ship as well, so you could do your own battle breakdowns, and I could also sell, like, a star grid, so you could almost make my videos. But those are all the questions. I really hope if you guys are interested, you'll take some time. This feedback early on in the process is extremely important to me. I want these products to be good. Right now, as I mentioned, the stickers are available, as are the left-facing ISD magnets. Let me know what's important to you, how you'd be using them, because that dictates what I pay for. Anyway, if you buy them now and you're unhappy in any way, or you're happy, please shoot me an email or message me directly on site. We'll get you sorted. Anyway, on to the actual content. I thought it'd be fun to do a quick video on the SPHA because I've often wondered, we get a glory shot of this thing in Attack of the Clones. Why doesn't it appear in the Clone Wars show? And I say the Clone Wars because the SPHA actually is used to really cool effect in the Clone Wars micro series, where we see it part of the siege at Munilinst, for example. And I love the scale of this scene. The Republic with full battle lines actually laying siege to a CIS stronghold. It just looks so cool. Now, the SPHA here actually acts a little bit different than we see it at Geonosis. It seems to be firing its mass driver, though I'm not sure. Wikipedia calls it an SPHAT, but to me, this looks a lot like the mass driver we see fired from the ATTE, for example. It's hard to tell with the micro series, though, because it's so stylized, and I don't mean that in a bad way. The Clone Wars as a TV show usually had the Republic employing the AV-7 anti-vehicle artillery cannon instead, so maybe it's worth comparing the 2 different artillery pieces to see why the Republic may have used the AV-7 more frequently. Now, from an out-of-universe standpoint, the AV-7 is most likely just easier to animate, and it better fits the scale of most episodes of the Clone Wars, but let's see if we can figure out an in-universe rationale as well. StarWars.com actually had a really good databank article on the SPHA. I did a video on how it's criminal all of these have been wiped from the site, but anyway, the article, which is dedicated specifically to the SPHAT, notes that the vehicle was a self-propelled laser artillery piece. Rather than having a rotating turret, the entire vehicle can reposition itself by means of 12 articulated legs. It provides long-range surface-to-surface and surface-to-air fire, while also being immune generally to anti-repulsor lift technology, which is interesting because in the Clone Wars, it looks like the SPHAs are actually repulsor lift vehicles with the legs coming down for support, but all other sources, including the New Essential Guide to Vehicles and Vessels, have it being a walker. The SPHA also looks as it does because it's meant to be, according to George Lucas, the cousin of the Clone Walker, i.e. the ATTE. So one neat thing about the self-propelled heavy artillery piece is that the turbo laser part, as mentioned, can be swapped out for a variety of weapons, including ion cannons or concussion missile launchers. However, to me, given the fact that the SPHA is designed around its massive power generator, I think you'd want the turbo laser mass driver or ion cannon variety. It says, and I quote, "The turbo laser assembly was designed first and necessitated a gargantuan reactor core. The size of the reactor necessitated the design of a new vehicle, otherwise they could have just slapped the cannon on existing Rothana products. Alongside the main gun, which could not move side to side, the SPHA also had anti-personnel blasters and dedicated gunners, although if anything's close enough, it's probably bad news for your battle line. The SPHA is meant to fire behind your main battle line, attacking enemies from extreme distances. One downside of the turbo laser model is that it doesn't arc, which again is why I think the Munilinst version is probably the mass driver. Additionally, the SPHA was not very maneuverable. It could not be moved nor dropped by LAT gunships. Rather, it had to be unloaded via an acclimator or venator. By the way, in both Legends and Canon, yes, that is an SPHA, which you can see ripping through CIS ships at the Battle of Coruscant, which speaks to its power, but it also was not repositioning or moving very quickly. Let's quickly compare the SPHA with the AV-7. The AV-7 was a much lighter single gunner artillery piece. It was also self-propelled, although on a repulsor lift, putting the legs down for stabilization before firing, and had a powerful shot easily capable of destroying most CIS vehicles. So why the AV-7? Well, I do think if we saw more long sieges in the Clone Wars or even more large battles like at Geonosis, the SPHA could have found use. But even at Christophsis, which is more of a traditional siege, the Republic used the AV-7. I just think it's more practical, especially in urban warfare. I think it's a lot easier to defend, to move, to chase the enemy with. Yes, it sacrifices power, but I think the SPHA is honestly overkill. If you need that sort of destructive potential, you're probably just going to rely on a capital ship, which has to drop the thing off anyway. I think the SPHA is also properly used in its turbo laser variant. That's where you're getting the most juice out of the reactor with that long, continuous shot of energy. And I just think practically that's not a great weapon. Like, think about the Battle of Geonosis. Aside from taking out the fleeing vessels, when would that artillery have been useful, more useful than an AV-7? I can't think of too many targets, and attacking a fleeing ship in that way is kind of a niche use. You get less power with the AV-7, but it's more flexible. And I think if you want to use the SPHA like an actual artillery piece, arcing shots over your battle lines, then it seems to me like the generator probably isn't getting its use anyway. You might as well use the AV-7. So that, in my opinion, is a reasonable in-universe explanation for why the SPHA wasn't more commonly used. It's a lot of energy and a lot of cost in a somewhat niche vehicle. And with that sort of generator running around on those little legs, also probably a maintenance nightmare. I will note, when doing research for this video, I did find some nice pages from the Star Wars fact file about the SPHA. Some of the lore there doesn't quite match how the vehicle developed. The unwieldiness is noted, however, as well as the crew requirements, but while it does note that the SPHA should be a last resort for the clone army because of their size and weight, the SPHA was also designed to take the lead with nearly impenetrable armor, allowing the vehicle to smash apart enemy formations. We don't really see the vehicle employed that way, and the Republic arguably has better options. Yes, the SPHA is heavily armored, but I think the legs would be obvious targets, and vehicles like the Juggernaut, although that came later in the war, certainly were better options for storming the enemy. Going back out of universe though, it is disappointing we never saw this vehicle more because it is an awesome design and I do think it has a position within the Republic military. But that's my video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give me feedback on the stuff I mentioned at the beginning, and of course the shop links are down below for both the sticker and the magnet. I really appreciate you guys and your support. I'll see you soon. May the Force be with you.